Before we get started today, I have to ask you all to check out Barking Dog Studios. It's a new YouTube channel made by a fan of the show. I'm going to put the link in the video below. He's got all kinds of miniature gaming stuff on there. It's a new channel. He's just starting out. Why don't you give it a shot? Thank you very much, guys. Welcome back to Miniature Mashup, guys. I'd like to start today's episode by thanking everyone who's donated to my GoFundMe so far. Thank you. You keep the channel going. And for those of you who have made video requests, I promise your videos are coming. Today we're working on a giant cooking pot that's suitable for hill giants, hags, or maybe something down in the abyssal plains where demons are cooking up people. It's just going to be one of those classic black cauldrons, you know, like the Disney movie. We're going to be making it out of the top bulb part of an old bottle of Nestle Boost. That's a meal replacement drink. We'll also be using some of that Tree of Heaven that I cut down, as well as a large can lid, which is cut with a safety can opener, so it doesn't have any edges. We're going to start by taking a little saw and just sawing off the top cap portion of the bottle. Not going to saw it all the way off. We're just going to use that to get it started. We can take it off the rest of the way with our safety knife, but getting into it with the safety knife is hard, but once you've sort of broken the seal with the saw, you can do the rest with the safety knife. And we're going to do the same thing to get the bulb off the bottle in general. Get the rest of that off with the safety knife. I'm going to try to clean that up with the safety knife, but you can also use small wire cutters if you've got those on hand as well. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's supposed to be a rough project anyway. Now we're going to punch a couple of holes into our can lid with a nail and hammer. Just going to punch that in there. And then we're going to flip it upside down and drive that nail right into our Tree of Heaven. We're going to set up logs standing vertically on either side of the fire. For our logs that are going to be in the fire itself, we're just going to take one of our pieces of Trees of Heaven. We're going to cut a notch into it so we can fit a chisel in there, and we're going to then hammer it down and just split it right down the middle, so it's got that good firewood look. It's going to look like we actually split it with an axe, or somebody that scale did. Once it's split in half, you're going to want to clean up any bark that's hanging over the edge or anything weird like that. And then we're going to glue that firewood down to the middle of the base in between the two vertical logs using some E6000. Just hold it down because this wood is kind of spongy. You want to keep a steady pressure on there so it bonds with the can nicely. Now, I want a lip on the cauldron. You don't have to do this, but I like the look of it. And I'm going to make that with hot glue, and I'm just going around and around the opening of the cauldron with the hot glue to give me a nice lip on it. I think it looks pretty good when it's finished. A little rougher than I'd like. If you've got a steadier hand, you could probably make it a bit smoother. And we're going to use that same hot glue to put our handles on the cauldron. We're just going to make 2 circles near the top and in the middle there. Now we're going to take a watered down PVA glue, put it on top of the can, and spread that around with a very cheap plastic brush. Just get it evenly around the can, and then we're going to dump our craft stand from the dollar store on that glue. Let that sit for at least an hour. Now I'm going to cut out a circular piece of foam here. This is a very thin foam from a sheet. We're going to stuff that into the bottom of our cauldron so it looks like there's a little bit of leftover stew in the bottom there. And then we're going to just seal that in with hot glue. You don't want to look down on the cauldron and see the logs underneath. This is going to give it a more solid bottom. Now when we glue the cauldron to the logs, we're going to take that glue and pull up 2 points. And these are going to be our flame tongues. We're going to paint these. We're going to paint these in the fire pattern, starting with yellow, working our way in a gradient all the way up to red. So yellow, orange, red. Now, I just did sort of a base coat of brown on the base, and then I dry brushed some detail, and then I also did some light effects on the logs with orange and yellow. I think it turned out pretty good, guys. What do you think? You can fit a couple of miniatures in there. 28mm characters' heads poke out of it, so it's just about the right height, I would say. And you can see we've got some demons and ogres getting ready to have a nice stew. If you want to support the channel, consider donating to my GoFundMe campaign. Check us out on Facebook where you can like us and talk to me. You'll see more pictures of this project there. And subscribe. Thanks for watching.